Nova, your host for this evening. I'd like to welcome those present and watching online to your fourth and final evening of the Candidate Spotlight. Here we have our candidates for the Liberation Officers and Chairs. Unfortunately, some of them couldn't come tonight, but to those who are here, I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Let's start from Jaden.
Hello, my name is Jaden. I'm a first-year mechanical engineering student. Thank you.
Hi, I'm B. I'm a placement year psychology student. I'm running for Ethnic Diversity Officer.
Hello, I'm Reese. I'm a first year maths student and I'm running for Disability Officer.
Okay, thank you everyone. So we'll now move on to the first segment of the evening, in which we have a series of student-submitted questions. So let's start with your first question. These are questions for the Ethnic Diversity Officer candidates. What initiatives will you create to bring together the communities using your experiences to make Newcastle more inclusive? Let's start with B.
So hopefully my idea is that I think that as much as we can, we should be promoting cultural diversity at Newcastle Uni. So my main initiative, and it's on my manifesto, you can see it online, my main initiative is that I would want to create a sort of event in the venue, similar to how we have like the freebie fairs, the poster fairs, that kind of thing, but specifically for cultural events for people to come and like promote their experiences from their culture and for everyone to learn a little bit more about each other, where we all come from, because that's the most important thing.
Okay, Jaden, would you like to?
Yes, sorry, I forgot to mention I'm also running for the same role as B over here. So I have a fantastic plan called I will create an Instagram page. Now, on this Instagram page, I will accept everyone to give me ideas on what they would like me to do. And then once I retire from the role, I will take the Instagram page details and give it to the next ethnic diversity officer. So we get like a little legacy going on. I think that'll be fun. Also, I would like to bring in something called International Day. Now, this is something I did in the Philippines in my school. It's a fun little day where basically we spend the whole day to appreciate all the different cultures around us. Very similar to what B said. What we do on that day is that we accept a bunch of different people to come in, set up a stall with their culture in it, and then we can walk around and freely enjoy everyone's cultures. Also, my personal favorite idea is the International Food Fair. What is that? It's as the name implies. It's an international food fair. Free food from all the different cultures. You can finally appreciate what good food is like. Yes, food from all around the world. Chicken tikka masala from England and India. Yes, it'll be good. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, those were great questions great answers from both of you. Let's move on to the next question for both of you. How will you support and celebrate diversity among students?
I think you have the wrong question sheet, but it is the question behind you.
Oh, is it this one? Yeah.
Okay, so we have the right slide now.
Yeah, we have the right slide now.
Fantastic. So I answer first? Shall I?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Fantastic question. I have a very simple plan for this. We call it just do the international days. Please. Not only the international days, of course. Recently, we've had a Chinese New Year fair, the Chinese New Year events. We could have also had a Deepavali event if we had actually done the cultural setup thing that we have now going on a bit earlier. So this coming year, we can do a Deepavali fair. We can do fairs for literally every single culture out there because we have the time and the resources. Newcastle University is a massive place. We have more than enough space to have a nice little event for literally every single culture when they come up. It's not like they take place all at the same time either. They're quite spread out. Therefore, I believe we have the time and the resources, if we plan it properly, to just celebrate each one individually. And then bring it all together in one big international day, maybe in the summertime when the weather is actually nice.
So my first idea with regards to this is to implement, similarly how we have now when you get emails from the Students' Union that have a spotlight on certain clubs or societies. I would like to implement a similar thing, but specifically pertaining to societies that promote ethnic diversity. So every month or a couple of months, there would sort of be like a promotional thing where people can go to these societies and kind of learn more about it, more about the culture, so that everyone can see each other's cultures, experiences in a positive light.
Okay, thank you, you two. I'm going to go back to the question that was before this, that displayed on the screen. It was for the disability officer candidate. Can you provide more examples of what you plan to implement to achieve your aims as disability officer?
This is a bit difficult. I'm not fully sure how things work yet, so I don't know exactly, but my plans generally include just getting more information to lecturers and people in charge of courses about the difficulties that can come from disabilities and how they can help and provide support for people with disabilities.
Okay, that was a great answer from you as well. Let's go back to another question for the ethnic diversity officers. How will you work with different student groups to promote diversity and promote understanding amongst all students?
Okay, I guess
Start
I'll
with you first.
So I would love to, again, work with different societies and the presidents and their, media people to sort of hear what they have to say, because obviously I can only speak from my own experience, and as much as I would like my experience to inform my role, I would like to hear more from other people as to what we could do differently to support them, because we've all gone through different journeys in life to get to this place. So I would love to know how we can support everyone, not just like one group, because it's kind of easy to get a bit bottlenecked if you've only lived one way. So I would love to be able to ask people from different societies and any kind of different schools and stuff like that, to ask them what we could do to support them better. I wanted to introduce an initiative where we sort of educate people on campus more about different issues going on with people from different backgrounds, because I think that as much as it's great to say that we would love to take feedback from these people, it's more important that everyone understands why we're doing what we're doing and what ways we're going to implement it, because it's all well and good to say we're going to do this one thing, and then people are like, but why are we doing this? You have to understand kind of where it comes from in the first place to be able to explain and inform those decisions. So more resources to promote understanding on campus for different ethnic backgrounds. Those are my ideas.
Oh, it panned to me. Nice. Hey, guys. Okay, so what are my ideas? Well, other than the fact I'm wearing a dinosaur costume, so I have a few fun ideas, hopefully, which still include the International Day. I will not stop pushing that. Or International Food Fest, which is free food, so I will not stop pushing that either. To answer the question, I have a few ideas as well, hopefully. Hopefully everyone appreciates the ideas. First of all, I believe that I would like to be what you could call a cobweb. A central cobweb where basically I can connect all the different societies so that everyone can collaborate together to create, to show how diverse we really are, rather than what I've seen sometimes where we have a lot of diversity, but they are done individually, yes. And because of that, we don't really see just how diverse we really are. And if you're able to see everything all in one big explosion of an event, I believe with all the societies working together to pull that off, we can truly appreciate how diverse Newcastle has become recently. Other than that, Another great idea that I have is called the network. Now, what is the network? It is simple. I will connect every single society through Instagram, no matter what they want, no matter who they are. I will connect all of you together, and then you have no choice. You will have no choice. I will give you no choice but to work together. Yes, I know, my ideas sound extremely extreme. But why? Simple. Because I don't want to repeat everything my fellow running candidate has already said. So, extreme. Thank you.
All right, thank you, you two. I'm gonna go back to another question for the disability officer candidate. What do you feel are the biggest barriers to students with disabilities?
I think some of the largest barriers are the lack of communication that we can give to people around us of what we need to get for support to be able to access everything that the university has to offer, and the fact that it isn't necessarily easy to find the accessibility ourselves.
Okay, thank you. So we have another question for the ethnic diversity officers candidates. What do you feel are the biggest barriers for the students you will represent? Oh,
Okay, cool.
let's start with Jaden.
Fantastic. Hello, I'm Jaden again. So, let's see. I will speak from experience for the first bit, and then from assumptions on the second bit, I suppose. First bit, experience. From what I can tell, the biggest barrier that usually takes place when someone comes to a new country is you're very much unused to it. No matter how many times you've moved in the past, coming to a brand new place is always a terrifying thing. Not only because you don't know anyone here, but because you don't know the place, you're not comfortable. So that is a big issue. Now, in Singapore, the idea that we came up with to counter that, naturally, is called buddy system. Who here remembers the buddy system? The whole 10 people who are in the room right now. 11 now, 12. The buddy system. This is something where basically you get paired up with someone who can take care of you, basically. So you can get used to it, so you can meet new people. I like the idea of universities having societies, but at the same time, some people find it a bit difficult to join societies. So, because sometimes you become very shy. You don't know if people will accept how you are, how you act. That is another major barrier that I've seen people have to overcome in the past. So, I have a great idea for that called just create a literal society called the New Student Society, where basically all new students are automatically put inside a little group where they all know they're new students and they can all talk to each other about it. We have the Freshers Fair, which is nice, but some people don't like going for the physical events, so perhaps an online one is what they may need.
So I think, again, to speak from experience, I think the biggest barrier that you've probably experienced if you're a student from a cultural ethnic minority background is that when I first moved to Newcastle, I moved here from London, which is a super diverse city. Like, I met people from all walks of life, and you never feel unsupported if you know that there are people who have experienced all kinds of things. But then I moved to Newcastle, and it's like, sometimes it's hard to feel like there are people on your side. You don't know that as much as it's like there is support in place for students of color, it's equally easy to kind of feel overwhelmed, especially if you've moved here from somewhere more diverse, like, like Manchester, London, Birmingham. It can be really, really overwhelming, and it's kind of, sometimes it's disheartening, I suppose, because you don't feel like you have a community in place that you've probably had for your whole life. You're kind of, I guess, striking out on your own for the first time. So trying to find that sort of support and community, I guess, is the biggest barrier, because once you've found it, it's like everything kind of falls into place right around you. It's just getting over that first kind of hurdle where it's like, oh my God, am I completely alone here? I'd say that's probably the biggest barrier, but one that's not impossible to overcome.
Okay, thank you to our ethnic diversity officer candidates. This next question is a question for all three of you. So the question is, how will you work with students to make sure their needs are met in the union? Can we start with Reese?
Yeah. I plan to try and reach out to a bunch of the societies and clubs that tend to have a few students that maybe fall under the category of disability, having a disability, and try and communicate with them about what they feel is needed changing and what they feel they need help with, and try and get that as a focus of what I'm doing.
Okay, thank you for your input. Can we have B next?
So I think one thing that I found, so I'm currently the student representative for the School of Psychology, so I work in my school and with the Students' Union to ensure that people in my school are getting the best experience possible of their education. One thing that we found is really working for us at the minute is holding like pop-up events so that students from any any stage of the course can kind of come up and express any concerns, and we can feed back to them things that we've heard in meetings, things that we're trying to implement, that kind of stuff. So we can tell them how we're feeling and they can tell us how they're feeling, and it's kind of like a mutual exchange of ideas and suggestions, feelings, that kind of stuff. And that's really been working for us so far, because it feels like sometimes when you send out surveys and when you're responding to a survey, you kind of feel like you're talking to a brick wall a little bit. So being able to talk to us in person where possible, I think would be a really good way to work with students to ensure that what we're doing is supporting their needs.
All right, Jaden?
I just realized the camera wasn't panning, so all the things I was doing with my head, okay. Hi, everyone, again. Anyways, so, what will I do to ensure that? So I have 2 ideas, and both will be implemented if I get voted. Idea number 1 is the Instagram account that I mentioned earlier. I will use this as a central hub where I will collect people who prefer not to talk in person, perhaps they're shy, they simply don't like going and being physical about it. That way they can contact me through there for any concerns and anything they would like me to do. And the second idea is, as you can see, I'm in a dinosaur costume. I will designate a day where I will stand outside the student union with a massive sign and me wearing this dinosaur costume. And I will simply tell everyone that I am, in fact, the ethnic diversity officer, and I will invite them to come and talk to me. If they don't want to look at my face, well, I'm inside a dinosaur costume. And if they don't like dinosaurs, I have a few other costumes as well. Just keep things approachable and fun while I'm there. That way it makes everyone more comfortable. Thank you.
All right, great answers from all of our candidates for this question. We have 2 questions that are next that are for the chair of scrutiny, but unfortunately they couldn't come today. So we're going to skip those 2 questions and go to another question for all 3 of you. What experience do you have that makes you the most suitable for this role? Could start from there now.
Apparently the slides and the question are not in sync.
There you
Okay, cool. So, oh yeah, I'm starting, right. Anyways,
Sorry.
yes. So, what experience do I have? Well, let's see. I suppose my biggest experience is from where I've been before. So I've never lived in a country for more than, I haven't studied in the country for more than 5 years ever. I've studied in the Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, and London. So something that I feel that I have is that in all the countries I've been to, I've seen a lot of different things. I've seen a lot of different ideas, and I've experienced a lot of different things. And through that experience, I can understand how different people tend to act and how different cultures tend to act. And I believe that this is very important to understand when you want to become the ethnic diversity officer, because you're dealing with different people. So I think that after years of travel, yay, so fun. It gets tiring after the first 3. I think that I've picked up a few skills that, such as communication, and being very stereotypical about this. Empathy. I know, big skill to have. Empathy. Yes, I think I have enough of that where I'm able to basically help anyone who has anything that they would like me to do for them.
B?
So like I said before, I'm the student representative for the School of Psychology. I did that this year and last year. And it's a lot of taking opinions from students, feeding it back to higher up academics in our school and in our faculty. So from there, I've been really good at kind of listening to the student experience and getting things done where they need to be. Last year, I was on University Executive Committee, which is feeding back to all of the faculty leaders, deans of education, that kind of stuff, and telling them, kind of being a voice for the students. It pretty much as high up as it goes for us, and kind of taking people's opinions and going in, and because as much as people would like to say, oh, we understand the student experience, it's hard to say that when you're like 15 or 20 years out of education. So it was on us to kind of be the voice for students there. And then this year, I've been part of the Access and Participation Plan collaborative student group. So we are working on our APP plan, which is like, how can we support students from underrepresented backgrounds in higher education? There's a lot of debate and discussion, but I think overall we're working really well together. So those changes will be implemented. I think it's 2024, 25. So that's my experience.
All right, can we go to Reese now?
I'm not exactly sure what would count as experience, but personally I feel that I have been able to communicate a lot with people around me with disabilities who, when they have been having difficulties, and I've been able to understand what difficulties they are having and I've been trying to help them figure out what ways to sort that. Also that I know personally how difficult it is to get through the difficulties that you are having, and brain fog, and how difficult it is to try and get things in place.
All right, those are all the questions, pre-prepared questions that we have for you guys today. However, we are now opening the floor to audience questions, so if anyone in the audience would like to ask any of these candidates some questions, the floor is open. All right, we have a microphone there, so.
Hello, I think this question is for all 3 candidates. So being a liberation officer myself, it's very different from sabbatical, and you kind of set your own KPI, you set your own timeline, you set your own goals. So what are those KPI, timeline, and goals for you all? Thank you.
Does everyone understand the question? Okay, can we start with Jaden then?
I'm starting again. Hello. This is a very good microphone. Anyways, so what are my end goals? Simple. I have one main goal that I think I outlined pretty clearly in my manifesto is I'd like to start something that lasts. So right now, all the officer roles basically get handed down year by year, person to person, and each time it's always a new person that takes over and they start something brand new. This is because, as you said, the officer roles are purely based on what the person would like to achieve in that role during that time period. What I would like to try to start is a situation where there is one officer who starts, and the next officer who comes in can start their own thing, but at the same time also have the ability to carry on the work done by the previous officer before them. Henceforth, legacy. I'd like to start something like that. Right now, for example, if you attend any of the student councils, there is a wall which has all of the officers, past, present, and it keeps on growing. I would like to start something like that for the sabbatical roles I'm sorry, not the sabbatical roles, what am I saying? The officer roles as well, the liberation officer roles. Yes, that's my main end goal as the big picture. Thank you.
All right, B, would you like to say?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Well, so firstly, this role is completely voluntary, and you basically walk into this role. No one tells you what you're actually supposed to do, what campaigns you're supposed to undertake. You figure that out yourself. So, what are the kind of things that you will do? And hence, the question is, what are your KPIs? What would you try to meet and achieve within your term and your timeline for
Okay.
that?
All right, thank you. So sort of my goal is over the summer, if elected, I would like to, everything I do essentially, especially even in my degree, is like informed by research. So I would like to look into talking to students and seeing kind of what the main issues are. So what parts of my manifesto are bits that I would need to promote immediately and which parts I could sort of wait a little bit longer to work on them. The goal is to make like Smash Mouth and hit the ground running. So I would like to kind of come in September and start as soon as possible with some of my things and make sure I'm meeting with other people in the Students' Union to get all of my points done, checking in throughout the year as well, to ensure that once I'm done with my role, I've achieved everything I wanted to.
All right, can we pass this question on to Reese now?
Yeah, I think B covered a lot of the general of how I myself would also start out, and also I hope, like in the end goal, I hope that if nothing else, that my end goal I will have achieved is that people find it easier to communicate what their difficulties are within the university to lecturers and people in charge, so that they can work for easier time accessing university itself.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other audience questions? Okay, Gabby.
If you want to go back to the previous slide, this is my fault because I didn't put the question on the sheet, but it is a question for all of you. How will you work with the other liberation and sabbatical officers to achieve NUSU's priorities? And just in case you haven't looked at them yet, the current priorities are cost of living, sustainability, wellbeing and support, and accessibility and inclusion. You can pick the priority that applies most to your role. These priorities might change next year, but they might also be very similar. So just wanted to know what your thoughts are on that.
All right, does anyone want to start first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
One of my primary focuses I'm hoping will be sort of the intersectionality of the student experience, because I think a lot of the time it's easy to say, oh, well, I'm the ethnic diversity officer, so I'll focus on issues of ethnic diversity, or I'm the faith and belief officer, so I'll work on those things. But I think it's really important to focus on how we can bring those all together and see it as a holistic sort of thing, especially with regards to, I was thinking well-being and support and cost of living, because a lot of students who are Black or minority ethnic are also from lower socioeconomic groups. That's like a observed sociological thing. There's probably a term for it that I don't know. But I would like to see how we can kind of work together to bring well-being support for people for those groups, in addition to cost of living support, and sort of do them not interchangeably, but sort of interchangeably, and see how we can generate support for people who might have a struggle in more than one area. So I'd work with, hopefully, the other liberation and sabbatical officers to see what their policies are and how we can sort of work on them together to ensure that we're fulfilling the NUSU priorities.
All right, Jaden, Reese? Jaden, okay.
Yes, Jaden again. Hello, we're just going to keep the camera on this side because I think it's more orderly that way. Anyways, so, well, as liberation officers, our roles as a current liberation officer who asked the question has clearly stated, is purely voluntary. So because we are technically volunteers, I don't really see why we should just stick to doing what our roles have stated. We should be allowed, no, not allowed. We should just do everything, I think. You should work, in NUSU, we should just work with everyone. The priorities that we have outlined right now are priorities that are important to everyone from no matter where you are. Doesn't matter if you're postgrad, undergrad, just a graduate, if you are from a minority or if you're from the majority. It doesn't matter. We're all students here right now. So I think that everyone should simply work together. Now, of course, naturally, as volunteers, but at times you will have to pick and choose which sabbatical officer would probably be best suited to tackling a specific problem that we have pinpointed. True, yes. But in the end of the day, we should not just have to work with a few. We should be able to, no matter what, call upon all of NUSU to come and aid us to help and fix every problem that we see along the way, if we can. And if we can't do it in the first year, well, time's not ending anytime soon, is it? Thank you.
All right, Reese, would you like to answer the question?
I feel Jane and B have answered very well, and I'm not sure what else could be said there. But yeah, I definitely feel like communication between all the officers is key, and we should work together to kind of push all of it at once instead of working individually on our own individual areas and not really focusing on the wider community.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for your input. Does any of the audience have any other questions? This includes, like, if you guys want to ask questions to each other.
Oh.
No one...
We can do that? Wait, hold on, we can do that?
No, we can't do that. Never mind.
Okay, well.
No, what I meant by my little handshake was like, if you would like to, you can. But be nice to each other and be respectful, as I have mentioned before.
Yes, of course. Do not worry. I will be very nice to everyone else seated here. Hey, guys. So, as you can see, surprisingly, there are 3 people here. We are but only 2 sets of liberation officers, technically. There is a total of, okay, not including backstage, or in this case, front stage, there's 10 people in the audience right now. So I was just wondering how you guys feeling about all this? Anyone want to go first?
Pretty okay. No, I think this has been a really good experience because it's always nice to kind of hear what other people have to say about, because I think we all kind of feel the same way that we want Newcastle Uni to be a great place for everybody. That's my campaign hashtag #YouBelong. Please follow my Instagram. But yeah, it's nice to hear what you guys had to say. So, you know, I was really dreading it, but actually, it's been okay.
You have anything to comment, Reese?
Yeah, I feel like it's been helpful as we're all trying to do roughly-ish the same goals in terms of making it easier for students, but we're all looking at it from one perspective. And so being here listening, you can gain other people's perspectives and understand from the wider range. So I think this has been rather helpful.
I see Jaden wants to answer this question as well.
I'm having fun. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. That concludes the Liberation and Chair Spotlight. Thank you all for coming, and to those watching live. And thank you to our candidates for telling us more about themselves and their manifestos. Big thank you to NUTV and NUSU for hosting these sessions. And make sure to vote next week to help shape your campus. Thank you.